Hey, and welcome to the Winning Daily Show. We got an action-packed Saturday full of all kinds of college football, a little soccer, some horse racing to get into, and of course the U.S. Open final for the ladies, so it's an action-packed. We got bets from Sparky and Dynamite David in the college football scene, so be sure to pay attention to everything that's coming your way. Let's start out in the soccer because those are kicking off right off the bat. We're going to start out in the Bundesliga, and we got two picks in the Bundesliga today. We got Union Berlin minus 160 versus Augsburg here. Tough matchup here for Augsburg going into Union Berlin, one of the best home field advantages in the Bundesliga. These two should be a high-scoring affair here if Union Berlin has enough energy after a couple of other guys did come back from international break, but these two haven't played each other in quite a while. So, first showdown in a while. Augsburg going into Union Berlin really should struggle here. So let's see if Union Berlin can get the win. We like that on the three-way on the minus 160. Next up, two big matchups in the Bundesliga today. We aren't going to do the Red Bull versus Bayern Munich. Just don't know really what sort of lineups are going to play in that one, but I do like the Leverkusen-Dortmund matchup. I love Leverkusen here, getting plus 225 versus Dortmund. Dortmund has continued to struggle on the road. Going to Leverkusen, who's gotten off to a pretty good start this year so far. I think Dortmund will struggle in this game. So the value there at plus 225 on the three-way for Bayern Leverkusen is right there. So be sure to hammer that one. Leverkusen plus 225. All right, we'll move on to La Liga. Two matchups today. We got one play on one of the matchups. We love Atletico Bilbao minus 135 versus Mallorca. Bilbao coming off a nice win versus Celta Vigo here. Mallorca starting out the La Liga 2-0, but I think they'll struggle here on the road. Bilbao has really dominated at home in this matchup. They played last year in about June. There was a 3-1 win for Bilbao there. Also, going back a while ago, about 2 years ago, Bilbao had a 2-1 win over Mallorca at home. It's just really hard to go into Bilbao and win matches, and Mallorca starting off 2-0 probably will not be able to handle going into Atletico Bilbao here. So this low price tag at minus 135 here will definitely be good value. So Athletic Club Bilbao on the three-way at minus 135. Big matchup in Serie A here today. Napoli versus Juventus. Great showdown. Wish this wasn't quite off the international break. Lineups will probably be a little bit light. But anyway, Napoli plus 130. Really like this value. We got that good value last year when these two matched up. I think Napoli really dominates this matchup here. Juventus coming into Napoli probably won't have their best players out on the pitch. So Napoli plus 130 on the three-way. Definitely good value. Ride Napoli in the win here on the three-way plus 130. Two matchups in the Premier League we like in Wolves plus 125 versus Watford. They really have gotten a little bit shortchanged to start the season. They've been the better team on the pitch a couple times here. Haven't come away with a win due to a tough schedule. This is the first time they really have a matchup that they're going to really relish here. Watford, a regulation team that probably will fight in that way. Wolves plus 125. I think they push and get a big win here, even though it is on the road. I look for Wolves to dominate here. Next up, we're going to take a big underdog in Leicester City. Plus 450 on the three-way versus Man City. Leicester City's had Man City's number a little bit here. Leicester City won this matchup just a couple months ago in the Community Shield 1-0. You'll remember the 5-2 matchup in early September last year that sort of sparked Man City to take off and end up winning the Premier League. But Leicester City has always played Man City tough. Man City has a lot of players coming from the international break, and so I don't think we'll get the full Man City team out there on the pitch. Leicester City should have their full array of guys on the pitch here. Leicester City at home. Really like the value here at plus 450. All right, a lot of college football to get into. Let's kick it off with Sparky and Sparky's picks for college football on the day. Kiz's Olympics. Cash them tickets.
Week 2. I like in the Pittsburgh-Tennessee game, I like Tennessee plus the 3.5. Texas A&M Colorado, I like A&M minus 17. Texas Arkansas, I like Texas minus 6.5. NC State Mississippi State, I like NC State minus 2.5. Missouri Kentucky, I like Missouri plus 5.5. Vanderbilt Colorado State, I like Colorado State minus 7. Iowa State, I like Iowa plus the 4.5. And Stanford and USC, I like Stanford plus the 17.
All right, Sparky with his picks for this week. We'll see if he has a little bit better week coming off a 3-3 week, off his 4-1 week in week 0. So we'll see how Sparky does this week. A lot of SEC love for Sparky out there today. All right, I'm going to re-go over my picks that we ran on Football Time with Dynamite David. I'm going to start out with the Tennessee-Pittsburgh game. I'm going under the 56.5 in that one. This should be a low-scoring affair. So 56.5 seems like a bit too much. South Carolina -2 versus East Carolina. Really like the way South Carolina played in the opening week. Think they'll be able to handle East Carolina, who's coming off a poor loss to Appalachian State. Northern Illinois coming off their big road win over Georgia Tech, plus the 7 versus Wyoming. Wyoming struggled in their matchup. They don't have the offense to cover a 7-point road spread, so let's ride Northern Illinois in that one. Virginia Tech, plus 20.5 versus MTSU. Love Virginia Tech in this one. This one feels like a blowout. MTSU really struggles to match up versus these high-level teams. Toledo, plus 10 versus Notre Dame in the first half. Really like this plus 10 in the first half. Think Notre Dame get off to a slow start. They played on Monday, so it's a short week. They have a handful of injuries that they're going to deal with. I think Toledo can hang with them. Definitely so, at least in the first half. And then by maybe the fourth quarter, Notre Dame starts to pull away. That's why I don't like that 17, but I do like the 10 in the first half. We're going to ride Air Force minus the 7 versus Navy. Really like this matchup. Air Force put it on them pretty good last year, about 42-7. Air Force is just the better team here. I don't worry too much about Air Force going across the country on the road in this one. It's a 3:30 matchup. So Air Force minus the 7. We're going to take the big spread here in UMass, plus 37.5 versus Boston College. We're also going to take the under 58 here. Really like this UMass plus 37.5. They showed a little spark on offense. I think they'll be able to cover this, even with Boston College newfound offense. So UMass plus 37.5, under 58 in this game. We're going to take Georgia Southern plus the 7.5 versus FAU. Really like this matchup. Georgia Southern, better team here. Great value getting the 7.5. We're going to take Buffalo plus the 14 versus Nebraska. Really think this matchup benefits Buffalo. I do think they have the better players here. Nebraska has the name. Buffalo has the team. So 14 points, really good bargain here. We'll see if they can handle the road atmosphere in Nebraska. Next up, we're going to ride Iowa plus the 4.5 versus Iowa State. This is always a close matchup. I do think Iowa State's a better team here, but this feels like a field goal game, so there's good value in the plus 4.5. Rice plus 7.5 versus Houston. Rice getting 7.5. This might be a little bit of a spike pick here. I was very angry with Houston last week. Didn't love the way they played. Shut out in the second half versus Texas Tech. Lost 35-0. So I kind of like the way Rice played versus Arkansas. I think there's a chance here that might come in some later picks on some upset specials. Next up, we got a great offensive matchup in Troy versus Liberty. And I think Troy might be able to play a little bit better defense than Liberty here. So the 4.5 in Troy, really good. Plus the under, 61.5. Really like that one as well. So Troy plus 4.5, under 61.5 for the game. New Mexico State, under 56.5. I said it before. New Mexico State has not been able to score points all season long. I don't look for that to continue. I don't see New Mexico scoring anywhere near the 50s in this game. So that value on under 56, we're we're just going to ride New Mexico State and the unders until they make an adjustment on that one. Next up, Florida International -1.5 versus Texas State. Really like Florida International at home here. Think Butch Davis has these guys playing good football. Texas State coming there. Little bit of a talent gap between Florida International and Texas State. So I like Florida International -1. North Carolina, Georgia State. We're going under 66 in this matchup. North Carolina didn't show me any explosiveness on offense. I know Georgia State struggled last week, has probably still some COVID issues, but North Carolina, Georgia State, under 66, should go under that large number until North Carolina proves. And lastly, we're going with Washington, +7 versus Michigan. So, big upset in that one. We'll see if Washington could cover that spread. I think this will be a defensive game. I think Michigan might be the better team here, but I think this will be a low-scoring game, in the low teens. So I don't think that 7-point spread is just a little too big for Michigan to handle. So let's go to Dynamite David and his picks for college football Saturday, week 2.
Dynamite picks. Boom goes the dynamite.
Hey everybody, Dynamite David here with your picks for Saturday, week 2 picks. I'm going to start off NC State -3 at Mississippi State. Number 2, I got Virginia -10 versus Illinois. Next up, I really like this Western Kentucky team, +7 at Army. Another +7, I'm taking Washington at Michigan. For my 5th pick, I'm taking Rutgers -2 at Syracuse. After that, in a big matchup, I like Oregon +14.5 at Ohio State. Then I've got Air Force -5.5 at Navy. After that, I like San Diego State +2 at Arizona. Don't know why they're getting points there, but I'm going to take it all day long. Iowa State, I've got them going and winning at home -4.5 versus Iowa. I think that's a big overreaction there. Iowa looked good, but I think Iowa State's the more talented team. After that, I like the under in Purdue at UConn, under 58.5. I like Buffalo +14 at Nebraska. May win this one outright, but I'm taking the +14. After that, Wyoming -6.5 at Northern Illinois. Next up, I'm taking Cal going into TCU +11.5. I think their defense is going to keep this game close. And finally, I like Memphis to go into Arkansas State and win big, -5.5 at Arkansas State. Back to you, champ.
All right, Dynamite David with his picks on the day. Be sure to follow us so you can catch those on the Football Time Show during the week. We'll have those out every Thursday. Don't want to miss that. Like and subscribe. All right, we'll close out the college football week. I got 4 3-team parlays and a handful of upset specials on the day. We're going to ride Virginia -10.5 versus Illinois, Miami -8, and San Diego State +2 in our first 3-team parlay. In our next 3-team parlay, we're taking Kent State -17.5 versus VMI, Army -6 versus Western Kentucky, and Miami, Ohio +18 versus Minnesota in our second 3-team parlay. In our third 3-team parlay, we're going with Oregon +14.5 versus Ohio State, Arkansas +7 versus Texas, and Oregon State -11 versus Hawaii. And our fourth and final 3-team parlay, we're taking Mercer +53.5 versus Alabama, Charlotte -23.5 versus Gardner-Webb, and UNLV +34 versus Arizona State. All right, those are our 4 3-team parlays. And lastly, we got some upset specials to close out college football. We like Miami, Ohio +700 versus Minnesota, Oregon +475 versus Ohio State, Northern Illinois +230 versus Wyoming, Buffalo +425 versus Nebraska. Really like that one. Really good value in that matchup. Same with this one. Georgia Southern +222 versus Florida Atlantic. Rice +260 versus Houston. Troy +160 versus Liberty. And Arkansas +220 versus Texas. And lastly, we're going to close it out with a 220 with Washington versus Michigan. So we got you some upset specials. We got you some parlays. We got you all kinds of straight bet. You should be set for your college football weekend. All right, let's get into some horse racing. We're going to go to the Kentucky Downs this week, and we got the number 6 race, the Ladies Sprint, and we like win play show on the number 4, Yes is Ginger. She's coming off a preview race of this race just about a month ago. She finished first in this race. Did a nice job of running this one. I like this. Now, I like this field because it's a huge field, so there's value all over the place, and I think I'm going to ride with the one who's just run here, finished this race. Yes is Ginger. She's not quite as experienced as some of the other horses, but she's coming off 2 straight wins. One is a nice real stakes win, and the other a lower tier stakes win. So she's riding high. Win place show on Yes is Ginger in the number 6 Ladies Sprint at Kentucky Downs. In our next race, in race 8, in the turf sprint, we like 2 win place show. We like Bombard and Born Great. That's the 3 and the 5. Really like Bombard here, coming off a Daytona Stakes win where he dominated that race at 6.5 furlongs in Santa Anita. He did struggle in the Breeders' Cup turf sprint about a year ago, but when he's run in these low-level races, he's been on top. This is a low-level race. I think Bombard can definitely finish in the money here. And then lastly, we're going to take a shot at the 5-year-old gelding Born Great. He just came off another race in the Kentucky Derby, Kentucky Downs Preview Turf Sprint. He won that race. He is coming off an allowance win about a month ago off that Kentucky Downs Preview Turf Sprint. So he's in the good stakes here. So I think these are your 2 best bets in that win play show category in race 8 in the turf sprint. 3 and 5, Bombard, Born Great. Really good breeding with those 2 horse races too. Lastly, we're going to go with the Kentucky Turf Cup, and we're going to take Bluegrass Parkway. Speaking of that preview turf at the Kentucky Downs earlier, he won his race in that one, and we're going to ride that, continue on. Otherwise, he's been a little untested. He's definitely in a step up in class in this field, but I think there's really, really good value coming off that. He's coming into a race where he's used to the track. I think he will finish well, definitely in the money, so there's a good value there in the win place show. His breeding, he's a quality road sire. He's bred for Kentucky. I think this will be a good race for him. You'll get really good value, especially with a field so large, and he's already an underdog in this one, so I think you can get great value in those 3 stakes races at Kentucky Downs this weekend. And lastly, we're going to go to the U.S. Open final. The ladies play today. We got Liliane Fernandez and we got 2 good definite young teenagers who are probably going to take over the sport here. We're going to ride the underdog in this one. It's hard to really get value on the underdog because these 2 are so young. The only real thing to go off of, they played in the juniors about 3 years ago in the Wimbledon juniors. Radonku pretty much dominated that matchup, but that's really not a lot to go on. Those 2 were about 15 at the time when they played this matchup. Yes, they're all 18 and 19 now, but I just really like the way Liliane Fernandez has played this year. Emma's been on a nice little streak in this tournament, but before that, she wasn't playing great, and I just like the way Liliane Fernandez, plus the value of getting 150. All right. All wrapped up for Saturday. Be sure to join us for Winning Daily on Sunday. We got a whole NFL lineup. We got prop bets. We got daily fantasy to go to. You don't want to miss that. Be sure to like and subscribe not to miss any of our shows. We just dropped our NFL preview and pick show for the weekend with Achilles Reign. Like and subscribe. I'm Champ Chesterfield, and I'm out.